If there's anything I've learned throughout the last 4 to 5 years on the spiritual journey, it's that it is the truth that is oftentimes the strangest part of reality more so than the lies. And so what I want to address today is the Maui fires. Now, I don't exactly know everything that's been going on. However, I do think that it's important that we cover the topic and that we address something that's happening, because this is a big deal for the people of our country. And yet, for some reason, it seems to be the case that a lot of the times there are going to be people that are going to call us conspiracy theorists or whatever they want to call us, but something just hadn't seemed right from the beginning for me for quite some time. And so I'm going to play some video clips here because I think that's just going to be the best way to go about this. And we're going to just kind of dissect what's happening. And of course, there's only so many different kinds of sources that you can get. However, it is the case that something's up about this. Something's up. I've had a suspicion. I haven't done any videos on it for a reason, because I wanted to figure out more about what's actually going on. But there doesn't even seem to be any known cause of the actual fire, which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me to think that there are people that don't even know what's actually going on. And we'll just watch some of these video clips and go from there. But I used to go to Maui. At least I went there once. And geez, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's just wild. So that's the aftermath right there of the fire. Literally everything is burned. Now, the several different causes potentially are there. Supposedly it was that there was a let's just have this guy explain it.
He will visit Maui on Monday. The death toll now stands at 111 following last week's devastating wildfires. As Danya Backus reports, emergency managers on the island are defending their decision not to activate warning sirens.
So they didn't even activate any warning sirens. They didn't even warn the people about this stuff. You can't tell me something suspicious about that.
Wildfire survivors in Maui have been showing up at this temporary morgue searching for closure.
I feel sorry for the other families, what they lost. They lost their family, their homes. Yeah. And Maui is hurting.
Lahaina resident Michael Richter lost his home during the fire.
Jeez Louise, look at that.
And his stepdad, 79-year-old James Smith.
He's gone. I just want to identify the body.
Out of the rubble and ash, Richter managed to find his dog with burns to his body and paws, but still alive.
I just screamed his name one last time, and he just popped up. His eyes were just shut, and he was black.
As the search and recovery effort continues, the head of Maui's emergency management agency is defending his decision not to activate sirens when the fires broke out.
Why the hell would you not activate the sirens when the fires broke out? Why would you do that? Why, ladies and gentlemen, let's think about this. Why wouldn't they activate the sirens? Just take that at surface level. Why is that? Now,
had we sounded the siren that night, we're afraid that people would have gone malka. And if that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire.
These harrowing images.
Nah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Images out of Maui illustrate the desperation among residents
Jeez.
who got caught in the inferno.
Oh my gosh.
Lahaina resident Kikoa Lansford used his truck that day to rescue.
And anybody that is in the comment section that has more references, please leave them in the comments. But also, just so you all know, it looks like the fire was caused by overgrown trees or bushes onto the electricity fences and such.
As many people as he could.
Some of them I grab them and then I feel bad for them. Like I grab them and they scream, you know. I saw dead bodies, smoke, burnt people. The worst part is the kids.
And officials fear because school was out, many of the victims yet to be found could very well be children.
That's crazy. Let's go to another video here. So this is the Hawaii before and Hawaii after the fire. These are aerial photos. And when I went to Maui on this island here, you know, the people were good there. They were pretty chill. They were actually, I mean, how can you not be? You practically live in a paradise. But I think a lot of the times things like this and situations like this is going to wake people up to the like it hits different when the disaster is actually on your turf, right? It hits different when the disaster is on your turf. And so a lot of these people are voting Democrat. And I'm not saying you should vote Democrat or Republican or whatever here in America. You know, I'm just Thaddeus. I just like to be independent of that kind of stuff. But a lot of the times people are going to say, well, this is the left. You know, this is the left. Like a lot of the quote unquote conspiracy theorists out there are going to say, you know, this is a left leaning vantage point in which, you know, they're going to try to start the Maui 15-minute cities. Now, I haven't seen any kind of particular sources on that. I have heard about it from different YouTubers and different ways that I get my news that I will not disclose here on YouTube anyway. If you do want to know my sources, you can message me in my email in the link below, but I don't think that what happened here was a coincidence. Like, obviously the winds were there. The conditions were just ripe for a disaster. And I just don't buy that it's global warming either, because again, there's no evidence of that. Like, there's no true evidence of any kind of global warming incident here. You know, there was the hurricane that was passing through. It was like August 8th. So this is being filmed August 18th, 2023, this broadcast. So August 8th was when the hurricane winds were going in, and it was almost like if it is the case that, you know, they didn't trim the trees back and they didn't trim the bushes back from the electric fences, and that started the fire, well, then the people of Maui that are paying taxes, they have to realize that these people do not care. Like, these people are not treating their tax dollars with reverence.
Thank you very much, Grace. Shane Chu of Lahaina was woken up by howling winds at dawn last Tuesday morning. He captured video of that moment.
Oh, this is live right across the street from my house.
Yeah, those are the winds.
Freaking
right there.
Power line just went down. See them right there? That's the power line that started from up the road there. And all of that is still burning.
He called emergency services as a row of flames ignited in the dry grass below. He used a garden hose to wet down his property. So far, there's been rampant speculation that power lines are to blame for sparking the fires.
There it is. Power lines are blamed to start the fire. See, and I just don't even buy.
Lawsuit has already been filed, but there's been no definitive evidence, and the exact cause remains.
Yeah, exactly. No definitive evidence, quote unquote. Like, who really knows what happened?
Under investigation. Here's how Trio described what he saw.
I hear a pop coming from across the street. As soon as I hear the pop, all I heard is like electrical, like zzz, going on the ground there. Look, there's the power line right there. And shortly after, thing was just arcing away on the ground, landed right in dry grass, so sparks, and then there was a fire. So the fire from there, to me, it simulated a fuse, like somebody lit a fuse for a firework, and it just followed a straight line all the way up to the pole where the thing was, and it landed in a bigger pile of dry grass, and that just ignited. You get all this wind blowing, and now you get a fire. It just, that was fuel, and just in a matter of minutes, that whole place was just engulfed.
Fortunately for Trio, his home was...
That's wild. So now take all of this and let's look at what our president is going to be able to do for the people of Hawaii. Let's play this video.
I've spoken to Governor Josh Green multiple times and reassured him the state will have everything it needs from the federal government. I immediately approved the governor's request for expedited major disaster declaration. That's a fancy word of saying whatever you need, you're going to get. To date, FEMA has approved 50,000 meals, 75,000 liters of water, 500 beds, 10,000 blankets, and as well as other shelter supplies for survivors displaced from their homes. FEMA also authorized one-time payments of $700 per household to folks who have been displaced so they can do the immediate things of just taking care of medications and prescriptions that they so badly need. You always hear this phrase, and I've done so many disasters in my career, it's almost hollow. Our prayers, our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Hawaii, but not just our prayers. Every asset they need will be there for them.
He's blatantly disrespecting the Most High right there. Thoughts and prayers are hollow. No, they are not, sir. No, they are not.
And we'll be there in Maui as long as it takes.
And they are giving
one-time payments of $700. FEMA also authorized one-time payments of $700 per household.
One-time payments of $700 to the Hawaii victims of the wildfires. And this has been a trend on Twitter here, apparently, where they're estimating golly. Yeah, they're estimating the amount of money that has been spent toward the Ukraine war. And this guy here did the math on it, and we'll just listen to him speak from the heart.
Did some quick math, Pete. There's about 13,000 residents of Lahaina. Times $700, that's $1.9 million. I think this week we announced another $40 billion for Ukraine. I'm not sure where we are at this point, Pete, but I believe it's something like $140 billion total for Ukraine. And last I checked, this is the United States of America, as is East Palestine, Ohio. So I don't...
So we're giving Ukraine billions and billions of dollars, and yet the American people get $700 while their houses are completely burned down, their livelihoods are completely burned away, but they get the $700. And I looked this up, and how recent is this? This was as of July 10th. So this broke down just how much aid the U.S. has sent to Ukraine. There's been $3.9 billion in humanitarian, so emergency food assistance, support, aid, just $26.4 billion in financial. That's freaking wild. And then a whopping $46.6 billion in total military assistance. So this is like for all weapons. This is for all everything like that. Now, how in the world is the U.S. doing that? Like, why are we doing this? Like, people got to wake up to realize, like, especially people that are continuing to vote Democrat, have to realize the Democrats could give two shits about their own people. And that's clear just by how they act. I mean, the president still hasn't even gone to Maui. You know what this situation of Maui reminds me a bit of? It reminds me of all of the natural disasters like Hurricane Katrina in the U.S. where nobody did anything. Like, is anybody going to help out? And, you know, it's one thing to actually ask that question. Because to ask that kind of question, like, well, is anyone going to help out? Well, why don't you do it? Why don't you help out? The way that I see myself helping out right now, the best of my ability, is to just spread awareness on the topic. You know, what actually is going on? What is really happening with the wildfires in Maui? Because it seems to me that there's a lot of mysteriousness behind it. And nothing's clear. Nothing is set in stone. Like, there's just so much that's going on that doesn't make sense. And I even read somewhere, and I wasn't quite sure on the source, so I didn't like pull it up on the actual video here, but I read somewhere that they were like, the police were actually told to deny aid. And the police officers were told to deny aid from anybody coming out from the coast. So is that true? I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's true. But if it is, then why? Why are they being ordered to do so? What, like, do people not understand that America itself is under attack within itself? Like, do people really not realize that? Like, one of the reasons that I'm going to the gym every day to the best of my ability and trying to maintain my health to the highest physical aspects that I can is to make sure that if something happens down the line, like, I'm going to be ready. Because if I'm not ready, then I'm not going to survive the times. And neither are you guys if you are not prepared. So now's the time to get prepared. A disaster could happen. Anything could happen in this life. Again, sometimes the best things, well, the best people sometimes have the worst things that happen to them. And for those that think that this is maybe God's judgment on Hawaii, I don't think that's necessarily the case. Because I spiritually have an intuitive feeling that this was a malicious act and we're not being told the whole story. And if anybody has any references that they'd like to share, I'd be very interested to see them and to hear them and what anybody else has to say on the topic. But for now, I hope this just addressed what needed to be addressed. And until next time,